Hi, everybody. Welcome to Beyond the Batcast, where I, Adam Upper, talk with my friend Braydon Cuddy about Batman, the animated series. And this week is another good one with Feet of Clay Parts 1 and 2. How you doing today, Braydon?
Feeling muddy.
You want to go ahead, do go for like a nice mud bath, maybe?
Yeah.
Some or get
How'd
some
you guess my
plastic
weekend plans?
or get some nice botched plastic surgery or get an accident after you get in an accident.
Yeah.
But yes, had you seen this episode like in your first watch through? Do you remember?
I think some of the images in this episode do jog some of my memory. I think
Uh,
there was a
or is that
couple.
just from like it being referenced all the time, or do you think you actually watched it though? Yeah, because like when people talk about Batman the animated series, it's like this episode is up there for obvious reasons because we'll get into
Oh
it
yeah.
because of how fucking good it is. Yeah.
Yeah, we were just saying right before it started. Yeah, this I think at least the second part got nominated for an Emmy, and you can certainly see why when you see the finished product. I do think that I saw the episode, if not in reruns, growing up, then probably pretty not far from like the original broadcast date. But yeah, no, I love this episode.
I knew I saw it early and it was on like heavy repeat. So I saw this episode, these two part episode like a few times, and yeah, it's definitely up there. And I probably like at the time like I was somewhat aware of Ron Perlman, so like so he showed up in that other episode as the one bad guy, and now he's obviously like the character he's more well known for from the series as Clayface, yeah. So yeah, so I would probably at the time I probably wouldn't have put it together, but definitely now and then with Daggett, I first I thought it was Ernest Borgnine, and I was like, oh no, then it was Ed Asner. So which I thought was kind of funny because yeah, this I guess you probably would have done this first, and because he's actually Granny Goodness in the Superman animated series later on, the one that comes out in 1996, the Tim Daly one. So
And he
he's
was the voice
so
of
he's
J. Jonah
yeah.
Jameson on the Spider-Man show.
Which one? The
The
like
the 90 one.
the one that's the one that everyone is fond of.
Mhm.
Huh,
You gotta wonder how
yeah.
many of those actors, because I know Mark Hamill was in it, obviously Ed Asner was in it. How many of them were just, doing their lines here and then just going off to another side of the studio, if not staying in the same recording booth, just to be like,
Well,
whoa,
well,
well, I got you here.
it's funny you mentioned that, yeah, because like I remember like at the one time I was watching at the old station out like at like 3 4 a.m. I had like one of the backhaul TVs and on just and I turned into I saw that Spider-Man the animated series is on, and it was just on off in the background while I was watching my shit, and it was like a Hobgoblin episode, and his Hobgoblin voice is just basically the Joker, his Joker voice. Like obviously, like it's Mark, you're gonna recognize Mark Hamill, but it's but with each voice, he at least change it a bit. But he like barely made a choice. Yeah, like it changed it. It's been like his Hobgoblin is basically the Joker voice. I was like, yeah, like that can't be like a crossover episode. And looked up and was like, oh yeah, Hobgoblin. Then I was like, oh yeah, I guess I probably wouldn't have realized at the time because I had the same thing I probably mentioned before, like in the Joker episodes, that like I probably saw Star Wars like when I saw this show, but I probably wouldn't have put together that it was Luke Skywalker right at the beginning. So I probably would have. So same thing here. I probably wouldn't have because I knew of the show Beauty and the Beast as well that he was in like way back and it was like an
Oh
80s show
yeah.
and so yeah. So like I knew that show and so I was like, oh yeah, that guy. But yeah, but it was probably like shortly after this where I actually started paying more attention to actors and shit like that. Yeah.
Now, Ron Perlman was like even early, I think, in his voice acting career at least, just really earning that paycheck
Oh
in
yeah.
this two-parter.
Well, yeah, yeah, because he's a phenomenal actor, so he did definitely even with like the voice stuff, yeah. So that this episode was produced like the 20th and 21st episodes, but weirdly enough, like in the air date order, it was like the fourth and fifth episodes. So this was like for like first week.
Really?
Yeah, so like yeah, so I think it started on the Sunday, so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So this would be like the Wednesday and Thursday episodes. So
Wow.
friggin' so first week watching the show with like when you're 12 years old, like and you get this these two episodes, man. Like
There
yeah,
are intense
if
scenes in this.
yeah if you're not hooked before this show, this these two episodes will fucking hook line and sinker the kids, man, because this is
Warner
like
Brothers, you had my
oh yeah
curiosity. Now you have my attention.
because it's especially with like blowing two punch of like the Heart of Ice before this and now these two episodes, like fuck man, like what like what a fucking week,
Yeah.
right?
We were so spoiled with this show.
Yeah, you got the first half of Cat in the Claw, the Man Bat, friggin' Mr. Freeze, and then friggin' Clayface. And yeah, the Clayface and the Mr. Freeze episodes are like the probably like the top 3 or 5 episodes. And obviously, Heart of Ice is top one, so it just depends wherever you put Feet of Clay in, really.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
we
yeah,
were talking before this. Marv Wolfman did this story, The Crisis on
yeah,
Infinite Earth Sky.
yeah. Part of why this episode is so fucking good, yeah, because he's like a phenomenal writer, and then too, like there's the third voice actor in here as Germs, that guy who has like the germaphobe is defending Ed Begley Jr., who is like a storied actor who's like in like St. Elsewhere, and he's like environmental activist as well and stuff. So like so he's like a bigger deal like years ago when this came out and stuff. So it was, yeah, so this these two episodes are fucking just like stacked.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Yeah, this episode starts with a meeting in the middle of the night. I think it's like 3 a.m.
Yeah,
Between Lucius Fox and quote Bruce Wayne, end quote. We're
yeah.
gonna
So
refer
yeah,
to
it's
this as not Bruce.
yeah. So this would be in like the fourth or fifth episodes aired. So this might have been the first episode with Lucius, maybe to for people like watching at home for like first run, maybe. Because I know he showed up periodically, in the episodes that we've talked about now, but I'm not sure if he was in the first couple that I remember. Like I actually can't remember what the order is. Do you remember if he was earlier?
In the
How early?
broadcasting order, I'm gonna make a safe bet this is his first
Yeah.
appearance.
So that's kind of weird that they had him. But I guess I guess if you're like 12 years old and you're watching this for the first time, you may not know who Fox is from the comics. Yeah, so it's like so you're kind of wondering why like who this guy is and why he is so important to Batman, because obviously if you know who Lucius Fox is, a big business partner and whatnot, and does does he know at some point in this series? I can't remember. Does he figure it out? I can't remember.
Not that
Or
I
or
recall. Like
or
Lucius,
does or
Lucius
does he
definitely doesn't appear as often as like say like his character in the Dark Knight series, where he's kind of like the Q to Batman's James Bond. Here he's more kind of like a figurehead for representing Wayne Industries when Bruce isn't around.
okay, yes. So he's meeting him there and he's talking about what was it, Daggett trying to suspecting of trying to do like a hostile takeover of Wayne Tech or something like that, or Wayne Industries.
Yeah,
And
some kind of
then
insider trading.
yeah, and so and he's like, oh yeah, these are the papers to that'll incriminate them. And he's like, yeah, they could be if I hand them in. So give me those. I'm running away. Yoink! And tries to take them. And he's like, what the fuck were you doing, Bruce? We're friends. You're not supposed to be doing this to me. We're supposed to be, if you're doing this, we do it together and I get half. Like, what the fuck? That's what white collar crime is.
Exactly.
This is not white collar crime. This is
No,
not how
I
it's
mean,
done.
not that I know what white collar crime is, but yeah, I found it
I'm
funny that
aware of its existence. I didn't say I'm doing it necessarily.
I'm aware of what not to do. But I found it funny that he like again, this person we're referring to for now is not Bruce. He's not letting go of like Lucius still has the briefcase in his hand when he's revealing his double cross to Lucius. So when the thing snaps off, when this guy is monologuing and explaining his villainous plan, Like you really have only yourself to blame there, pal.
Yeah, and how is this whole setup not suspicious to begin with to Lucius? Because even if this is his first appearance in the show, he's probably known Bruce for at least 3 to 5 years at this point, if not longer. And then he's probably close ties, and they're probably close friends at this point. Like even though, as I said, first appearance. So like I'd be like, hey, I'm gonna meet him in this random outside this random building at 3 a.m. That's okay. Let's grab these papers in. Let's go.
I'll do
Like,
the Morgan Freeman impression for our Lucius here, but I am the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company, and even I'm too old for this crap.
like yeah, like there's no suspicion of Lucius when he gets there and starts talking to him. He's like, hey, yeah, this is I'm here to help. Here's the stuff. Like, yeah,
Well,
this is totally on the ball, on the up and up. This is not suspicious at all being out here at 3 a.m.
Lucius, meet me at Suss Avenue and Traitorous Boulevard. Okay. Yeah, these thugs, the thug you mentioned earlier, Germs, and his cohort, who later we get told is Bell, they're there as Lucius is trying to escape. Lucius ends up with like a subway sign falling on him, and this is when Batman comes in to. I don't know why
Because
Batman was there.
yeah, I know he was just out doing his rounds and he heard the gunshots just on
Oh,
like a
that's what it
random
was.
rooftop, and yeah, so he was on the first couple of shots that hits the subway sign that hits Lucius. You see him on the rooftop and it zooms in. He's like, "What the fuck? Oh, bullets! That's my cue. Do do do. Let's go."
You didn't hear the gunshots that killed his parents.
No, well,
Oh,
no, he
yes, I
kind
went
of, yeah,
there.
he totally saw it. He like heard it and saw it. So not like tonight where he just heard it.
Yeah. But yeah, he's taking care of these goons well. So okay, one thing that's important to note is that Batman did not see not Bruce while he was there. That guy
Yeah,
managed to escape right before the action took place. Because later on, I was very confused as to why. At first rewatch, I was confused as to why Batman was surprised that Lucius Fox is accusing Bruce Wayne of
yeah.
trying to kill him.
Hey, yeah, like the next morning after all this goes down, yeah, he like wakes up and like Alfred says something. And he's like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "Yeah, maybe you should like read the newspaper, even though I just saw that you woke up. Like, come on, like how do you not have the news like fit into your brain when you're sleeping by now, Bruce? Like, you should have that Elon Musk brain chip in your brain, so you just constantly take in news and not go crazy somehow."
Fall asleep listening to the radio or something. Like I do that. Yeah. Can you
Yeah,
imagine Lucius Fox's like glass door review of like Wayne Enterprises when he's like leaving the company? He's like, my boss not just tried to kill me, he tried to kill me off hours.
but in hindsight, I should have seen that was like as slightly suspicious. So it's at least 25% on me, but not anymore.
And then we cut to I think it's called Imperial Studios or not Warner Brothers, as we can also refer to it. I was watching the scene. I'm like, imagine there's a water tower there, and sure enough, there's a water tower. I love that. And that's where we cut to the actor. I've always pronounced his name as Hagen, but it's Hagen. Matt
Hagen,
Hagen.
yeah. Hagen, yeah.
His trailer where he's going full Russell Crowe. Yeah,
Well,
he's tearing his
at
trailing apart.
least he has like somewhat of a reason instead of just being like a drunk asshole. So I guess
Yeah.
and not that I condone like throwing shit and yelling at your assistant or anything, but at least have like at least have a good reason for it, I guess. Right.
Well, and that's the thing that I think is one of my favorite parts about this two-parter is this is a story about addiction. And it's
Yeah,
actually done very well and very maturely for what you've got to realize is a short, even including commercials, is a short amount of time to get right. And
yeah,
so,
yeah, because I think both episodes are like 20 minutes long, like without the commercials. Yeah, because yeah, so about 20 minutes. Yeah, it's only been a half an hour block. Yeah, so 10 minutes. Holy shit! If I get 10 minutes worth of commercials and a fucking half-hour block, that's a lot of commercials.
man. So yeah, Hagen is got this chemical, or it's like a cosmetic ointment called Renew You that he's been using since this serious accident. You get a chance of looking at what his face looked like at the time of the accident, and
Yeah,
he looks
messed up.
severely messed up.
Yeah, they never said like what the accident was, did they? There was, or he just had that. He just had a accident, right? I don't think
I
it
think it
was
was a
bad.
car crash. Like I don't think it was like drunk driving or anything implied like that, but I think it was just a car accident.
Huh. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah. So you've got Vanilla Sky
Oh
instead
my
of
gosh, I forgot about Vanilla Sky.
I know like, a lot of people rightfully so like don't like that movie, but like at the time I I really liked that movie for some reason or another. I don't know why. But
Had twists, that's for sure. Like even
yeah,
by
yeah,
the end of
yeah,
the movie, I was like, wait, what are we doing?
yeah. Yeah, so like yeah, so maybe like, oh yeah, this movie's smart, so that's why I like it. Or I'm like, I'm fucking just dumb and like dumb movies maybe. So
Yeah. But what did you think of how they portrayal the or how they portray the addiction storyline for Hagen?
oh yeah, yeah, as you're saying, yeah, it's 100% done well, yeah, because yeah, as you said, like him going through that, I'm like, yeah, that 100% is like an addiction thing, yeah, not having any more of the stuff, and then like your close confidant has a little bit left just because he knows that you're going to act exactly how you're acting right now when you run out, and just and wanting to not continue and giving you the stuff, but also kind of there's no other choice, so yeah, and then gives it to him, and then he's like, yeah, yeah, he just has like a little bit left, and then even after that, yeah, it goes back to the vial, and he's like, oh, there's none left, so 24 hours, and I'm screwed again. So yeah,
Hmm.
so yeah, so even if he does have his face back momentarily, he still has, you know, the addiction is still there, and he's like still looking for that the next score, which is exactly what happens when you're in the thralls, unfortunately.
Hmm. Yeah, we should probably mention the mechanics of like how this stuff works. The Renew ointment. So yeah, this thing basically puts his face all the way back together.
Yeah, it's like
You can
basically
actually mold your face.
it's like yeah, it's like face putty pretty much, and so
Hmm.
yeah, really. So yeah, so he's yeah, so if it's like basically face putty, so he molds his face back together, and it's just enough to get him back, and then yeah, so as he said, it's a lot. So he's probably done this before. Obviously, he's done this before. Knows like each application takes 24 hours before it wears off, and he's unfortunately back to his actual self.
Hmm. And so Daggett, Roland Daggett, the person who invented it, he used him as basically a human guinea pig for like human trials. And
Yeah,
the thing obviously worked, but basically said, if you want to continue to use this stuff, you're going to do me a couple assignments, which included using the putty to make his face look like Bruce Wayne and send him up for this attack on
yeah,
Lucius
yeah,
Fox.
stuff like that because yeah, yeah, in that conversation they were saying yeah, yeah, he did his best acting work after the accident, so like, so he probably thinks yeah he owes everything to to this, so he needs to keep on going, and obviously
Hmm.
Daggett is probably they probably is real crook in his mob, probably like a secret mob boss probably, so he's probably knows that face all too well and is able to exploit it. So he's like, oh yeah, I need somebody to, and a guy like that always needs goons. So he so he gotta be able to use his addiction against them. Yeah, and one of those jobs is yeah, friggin' getting in the papers that could incriminate him and friggin'
Yeah.
destroy him.
And that's what I find two key elements about how they do this story that I think really work for any time that you're writing a story about addiction. One, they address right away the demons that Hagen's trying to outrun. He's trying to save his career and he's trying to make sure that he can, keep himself afloat in the acting world. And he doesn't want to go back to the way things were. And
And
also, it addresses the dealer side. So Daggett being this guy who's like, I know you're a junkie and I know how to get you your fix, and I'm going to exploit you with that.
and then on top of that, it's the whole like disfigurement as well. Because if it's just an addiction, yeah, that could be one thing, but he needs it to cover up the thing to do the acting. Yeah, so it's just like yeah, so there's like a couple layers there instead of just hey, I happen to try drugs and unfortunately figured out afterwards I have an addiction problem and got hooked. So this yeah, so it wasn't just taking the quote unquote drugs in the face putty just for kicks. He was kind of doing it for the acting or whatever. So
Hmm.
you kind of feel for him that way. It's feel for him that way with in the addiction aspect.
So that's when we cut to Roland Daggett talking to his goons, Germs and Bell. I love, by the way, so Bell, Germs, we mentioned is, he has this kind of like germophobic guy. I thought he was like wiping down fingerprints, but no, yeah, he's taking the germs off of
Yeah,
like any
yeah,
touch surfaces. That will
yeah. So
bode
he's
him
like,
well in a couple decades.
yeah, I know. He's made that joke that like that the germaphobes do the score all along. They're way ahead of us.
Howie Mandel was right.
Yeah, I 100% said that for like in the early days. 100% said that. He knew the score.
And this guy Bell, I love this. This guy's got this headset on that he refuses to take off. Even Daggett says, like, stupid thing off, and
Yeah,
Germs takes it off him.
because they gets talking to him and then because they're getting him to trying to open the door. Yeah, and then he's like they're telling him to open it. And then that's how we figure out that germs is germs, and he takes out his handkerchief and so he doesn't touch it right away with his hands and stuff. And then they're walking, and he's then germs is like, "Hey, buddy, don't be a fucking dumbass." He's like, "Okay," and then just puts him right back on.
She's like, no, I won't.
Yeah, so like the headphones with like little antenna, yeah, so you can get like the radio instead of like being a Discman or fucking whatever. Yeah, I guess it'd be or I guess it'd be at that point it'd be a Walkman. Like I think
Well,
more
that's what I
people
thought at
today.
first it was, but it's like
Yeah,
an actual
yeah,
radio headset.
the antennas in the headset itself. Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
all
because we find
all
out
the one
later
thing. Yeah,
part of the reason why he's got that thing on is because he's listening to police radio to hear if
yeah,
his name gets brought up. But it's like,
yeah.
how many crimes are you committing? Like, like clearly you're like a criminal for hire, but I'd like to think you're not taking up that much of the police broadwidth time. Like,
Well, it's the other too. If you're a criminal, speaking of addictions, you may or may not be doing like a certain drug that would make you paranoid. So that would probably just end you're like a criminal, and you're like, hey, the criminal world, they're like, hey, here's a headset that can that's coded for all the police bands. We can hear if you do a job and you want to hear if you're being surveilled or whatever. Just like take these. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna use these all the time now.
yeah,
So
this guy
it's
is
like,
more addicted to his headset than I am with my iPhone. Let that sink in. But yeah, Daggett, this is kind of like our more or less Lex Luthor type criminal. He's also kind of visually a little like Norman Osborn, just with better hair. And Daggett, actually, if that name sounds familiar, they use the name Daggett as Ben Mendelsohn's character in The Dark Knight Rises, which I was actually impressed Chris Nolan used that. I'm assuming maybe they just Googled like Batman CEO type villain, and that's the name that popped up. But yeah,
uh,
Daggett
uh,
is going to be a recurring villain in this series.
who is he in the Chris Nolan movies?
He was the guy that remember Bane was working for, and he's like, "I've paid you a small fortune, and this gives you power," and then snapped his neck.
Oh, okay.
So Daggett,
It's-
he thinks that Hagen is no longer of any need to them, and thinks that if he gets his supply of the Renew You cut off, he's going to testify in court, and orders Bell and Germs to dispose of him. So I'm going to make a quick note here and then come back to it when we get into the second part. I find that Daggett, even when he's right, he's still a step ahead, one step too far in his plans. Like Hagen does come back for the serum, or sorry, for the putty, but more often than not, I think he's overcomplicating his plans just for the sake of the story moving forward. Because I found that like the guy never said anything about going to court. He just wanted to get another fix. So I don't know. Like maybe it was because the plan didn't go quite the way he wanted to with the Lucius Fox incident. But I was a little confused as to why he suddenly like dispose of him. Like Daggett
like
strikes me as the. Go ahead.
because in that whole thing he said like he this is not the first time he's fucked up. He's there, so this is like the last time. So he's not reliable. So this is the one last thing to fucking prove that if you can it'd be trustworthy and stuff. And he said, so he's like, yep. So you can't do this. So fuck him. You can't get that papers to get me out of jail or whatever. And so fuck him. He's dead. Or for
Okay, I
the
missed the
second
detail
attorney.
that this isn't the
Yeah,
first time he's
yeah,
fouled up
yeah.
a plan.
So so you said before, you said been working for him for a while, and yeah, and actors are untrustworthy in doing not actor stuff or even doing actor stuff sometimes. So I would, yeah, I would if I was like to rate goons, if I was trying to get goons, like the actor pool wouldn't be like the one of my top choices. I don't think. But I guess the only reason that he was doing that is because he was like the master of disguise. I guess so. That's I guess I think that was the only reason that they
I'm
was
going to be
using
the
him
master of
specifically.
disguise. I'm going to be the master of disguise. I was debating whether to drop that joke in this episode, and there you go. Adam gave it to me. I saw my opportunity and
Yeah.
jumped at
I normally set you up, yeah. So, but yeah, so if it wasn't for that, like I definitely wouldn't have. If any actor had like that specific skill, they could like putty their face that way, I would be like, yeah, I'm definitely not going into the actor pool for goons.
it. You know, it's
For my
actually just hit me. This is literally the definition of Hagen is putty in Daggett's hands in both the literal and the metaphorical
yeah,
sense. He
I
knows how
guess
to
so.
manipulate him and mold him to his will.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
So yeah, as it turns out, that's exactly what happens. Is we get Hagen showing up to the place after hours to he just sticks his hand right in the boiling vat because
He's
like
yeah,
Daggett figured,
in the petri dish or whatever. He's like, yeah, I just put it all in my face, blah,
yeah,
because it's obviously past the 24 hours, which the stuff is worn off. Yeah, so
yeah,
and then and then germs and the other guy, whatever the fuck his name is, I always
well,
forget what the other guy's name is. Come in
yeah,
and basically kill him, and by doing so, pouring a bunch of the stuff into his mouth.
yeah. I was gonna ask you what you thought of this scene, man.
Even as a kid seeing that, I'm like, that's fucking like, that's a bad way to fucking go, man. Because that's like that's basically like drowning them, but not like not in water. So
Yeah,
and it's fucking super thick and stuff. So like it'd be like worse than water. And like going down your esophagus and into your lungs and stuff.
they're
That'd be
waterboarding him with clay. They're mudboarding him.
yeah, that is.
Like you see it on the
Oh,
shadow, so it's not graphic. But even after
oh,
that, like
yeah,
they're
no,
dragging his body out.
that shot is pretty graphic. I'm just like actually like in the DCAU wiki I'm I see right now, and yeah, it's it's just not filled in. Yeah, so
Yeah, it was intense.
yeah, definitely,
And
definitely not the way to go.
yeah. So they think that he's dead and ironically say, you know, good rest in peace, slime ball, or something along those lines. And you just hear a mutter of a groan in Hagen's voice as he's, left at the wheel of his car.
So
After that,
after they kill him, yeah, they his cars in the back alley or whatever, so they put his car in there just so it looked like he just fucking died in his car or whatever.
mhm. And after that, we cut to the Batcave where, yeah, Alfred shows Bruce the newspaper as he's, trying to find more information about the Daggett thing. Finds out that his CEO is in the hospital and has accused him of attacking him. So,
Because Alfred says like, "Hey, I can't keep on saying to the police like you're away, so you need to go talk to the police." And he's like, "What do I need to talk to the police for? Whenever I need to go talk to them, I'll just go talk to Commissioner Gordon. Just go freak him out in his office or his home, or just show up behind him one day and be like, boo." But like, I don't like why do I need to talk to the police for? He's like, "Hey, maybe you should read the newspaper, Bruce."
man is sitting in a hospital bed, and the only reason that Bruce finds out that he's even there, let alone that he's like been implicated in the crime, is
Yeah,
because he saw his name in the newspaper. Otherwise, Bruce just could have been in there for a month on death's door, and Bruce would be just like walking into the occasional board meeting, like, Where's
But
Fox?
so
Where,
yeah, I'm just thinking. I'm just thinking of timing of all that because it was like like when Lucius met not Bruce. It was 3 a.m. and
Mhm.
that's usually about when the newspapers are just being packed up and ready to go out to everybody to be delivered. So
Oh yeah.
unless there was like a reporter like around the corner and was like, stop the fucking presses literally and change the story. Like how the fuck did he make the have that morning's newspaper?
Enough. Unless the guy owning the newspaper just has like a real like hatred for Bruce Wayne, and he's like, "Oh, my moment has finally come."
Oh yeah, there's like the early morning edition, like the mid morning edition, the noon edition, the 4 o'clock edition, and then the 7 o'clock edition, the 12 o'clock edition.
And
Just
we
because of
wonder
all this,
why there's so much deforestation problems in the world.
because of all the shit that's going on in Gotham, you just need like I need like a 3 hour friggin' news cycle just to see what the fuck's going on. Because
Every time Joker robs a bank, they have to print it on the front page.
stay off a third for the next 3 hours. It's covered in Joker toxin fog, so that might go slightly crazy on your way home from work. So just go up to fifth and cut down on 76 and
Yeah.
go down. I don't know number. I don't know how the grid system works. I don't know.
So yeah, Bruce is trying to find out more about why he was like, implicated in this. And he figures it's a connection with Daggett because he happened to be at the scene where the whole like shindig with Daggett was going down, Daggett's goons were going down, and
Yeah.
tracks the guy Bell, the one with the headset. So, okay, I like this clever use of the police radio to fool Bell, where he uses it as like a voice modulator, and it's this woman on the police radio. Do you think that Batman uses this thing to catfish people?
Yeah, I
I'm a
used it
hot
on
brunette looking to buy thousands of dollars worth of
uh,
cocaine. Meet me at the Gotham docks in 1 hour, big boy.
I know, yeah, it does it for like this foreplay with Catwoman, just to mix it up a little bit. But yeah,
Selena
so
doesn't
he's
like it when I use this voice. She doesn't think it's as sexy as I do.
yeah,
Good.
so I think this is like the first time of like the Batfleck voice changer. So instead of just doing the regular voice change, he like yeah, he has like a little modulator to go into the microphone to so it doesn't sound like because it's not like anybody's going knows what like Bruce Wayne sounds like, so he could just use his voice
Sure
to
enough.
do it. So just do that. Yeah, I think like that guy's like on a motorcycle, I think, or something. I think, or like a scooter, where he's like going
Oh,
around
Bell?
Gotham. Yeah, I think the guy, no,
Well,
the guy with the headset.
oh yeah, Bell. No, Bell was in his car, and the reason
Oh
why
yeah,
is okay.
he was in his car and yeah, he was driving around and then Batman was following him. Oh yeah, because yeah, I remember he uses the window, yeah, or the not the
This
window,
scene that we're
the
about
mirror.
to mention is absolutely metal. So, all right, to set this up, Batman has, used the police radio to make Bell think that he's,
The
being
police are
on
on.
the APB. The police are on his tail.
Yeah,
And then what should really be a case of him cornering this guy in like a dark alley, Batman decides to take the dial up to a
yeah,
thousand
yeah,
because he's
because because the bell goes out of town and stuff. So yeah, so he follows him that way. He looks like he's like caught at like a toll thing or whatever. And then that's when he notices that Batman's following him.
on the bat plane.
Yeah, yeah, from the bat plane, yeah. So he's like kind of like flaring around, which fucking I think I said to you like Susan, I heard it, which fucking for some reason sounds like a fucking TIE fighter in this episode. Fucking like screaming around. We're just waiting for the fucking Millennium Falcon to kind of come up behind him and shoot him and be like, "We got this kid. Though. Let's go home."
I'm with you now. But yeah, the reason I wanted to specifically mention how intense Batman goes here is because he could really just, like find a way to get this guy's car, like, I don't know, shoot out the tires or something much more simpler than what he does. But Batman decides to chase this guy in the bat plane When he manages to corner him under like a freeway tunnel, he impales the guy's friggin' car with the freaking scissor lift looking thing on the end of
Oh
the
yeah,
back
yeah.
plane.
So he has like a pincher gripper thing, and Frank yeah flies into the tunnel, grabs him, and Frank flies around, and this guy's wrist is fucking toast. He
Oh, yeah.
can't use his hand. He can't use his hand ever again after this.
Well, that's the thing. Like he goes from like, nearly being impaled by this freaking like gripper thing in the front of the bat plane
Yeah,
to, yeah, Batman just like letting the car
part
drop and it's holding him up by the wrist hundreds of feet in the
yeah,
air.
and with all the yeah all the maneuvers he's doing, like yeah, his entire arm and his wrist is fucked. Yeah, his entire arm's done. And then he's
Guy
like, and
needs to
he's like,
buy a lottery ticket because it is a miracle he is not dead. If not a
yeah, so
heart
yeah,
attack, his friggin' arm being chopped off and falling to the streets.
so Batman takes off the voice modulator, and it's just his voice like screaming at him, telling him figure out, yeah, telling him what I forget. I've totally forgotten like what he was trying to figure out in
I was
this
trying to find
scene.
out who was the
Oh yeah.
person who's,
Oh yeah, who was imitating Bruce Wayne? Okay, yeah, yeah. So yeah,
yeah.
so he's just like screaming at him and like, yeah, it's Batman. Just be like, Tommy, doing all these insane fucking maneuvers. Like eventually he like faints and passes out. He's like, oh, he passed out, so I don't know. Like no, hey, like I wonder how you didn't do that fucking right away.
Yeah.
That like a miracle. It's a miracle you fucking lasted as long as you did.
Like this
Just between the G forces and the lack of air, like like being that high up.
this interrogation is so hardcore. Jack Bauer would tell Batman to rein it in. Yeah, it was. I think I can certainly see why this was a two-parter when I watched this scene. Because yeah, and ordinarily this would just be Batman grabbing the guy, zip tying him by the ankles, and holding him up over like a couple of stories. But he's just like, nope, I'm gonna in for a penny, in for a pound. Like you also wonder, like Gordon coming up to him later on, like, explain to me what the frig that was about. So yeah, he manages to drop this poor man unconscious into a pool. It's a miracle he didn't drown, but
Yeah. Because like right after he passed out, like the police choppers catch up to him. He's
yeah.
like, like guy like lying and stuff, so he can arrest you for being Batman or whatever. So he's like, screw that, and somehow
Mhm.
manages to drop him in the pool without friggin' missing the pool. And he already knows he's friggin' passed out. So like, why are you pointing at dropping a passed out guy into the fucking water? Like,
God, Batman, you're this is
yeah, yeah,
100% manslaughter at minimum.
yeah, if you didn't kill him already, like yeah, just like dropping an unconscious person into a fucking body of water. That's that's not good. That's not gonna get you the police off your tail.
Like Gordon gives you a lot of free passes. I don't think this is going to be a thing you can just brush under the rug, buddy. Like
And
it's a
I think
miracle the Air Force didn't see this.
I think that's like basically like the end of the first part. I think right. I think
Well, the
he
first part ends
drops it.
with Hagen's so it's his stunt double and best friend. And actually, I found out in the production details, his boyfriend, Teddy Lupus, who
Okay.
is there to find him in the car. And
Oh
he's
yeah.
like, Hagen, are you all right? And that's when we see Clayface for the first time.
Oh yeah, yeah, I just see him like he's like, oh yeah, here's his car because he's like late for that day's shoot or whatever. Probably most likely, yeah. They show up to his car and then you're like, oh yeah, this is his car. We're just in the alleyway. Then you see like the in shadows and obviously it's a different body shape than what he was when they first put him in. And then you just see him as what we know as Clayface. He's like,
Mhm.
ah, then. Yeah, then it goes into the second episode or the second part.
So one thing I want to make mention of before we jump into the details of the part two is when I was looking at the production notes, they actually changed animators in the second part. And it's a very subtle difference, but the biggest noticeable part of it is the transformation scenes. So the name of the part two animation studio was Acom Production. Oh, sorry, part one was Acom Production, and part two was Tokyo Movie Shinsa Company. And like I said, part two at least was nominated for an Emmy, and you can see why. Like this episode's over 30 years old, and the transformation scenes are amazing.
So yeah, because the scene I always think of is like near they would just to jump ahead is like near the end of the episode where like after the final confrontation there's like a handful of clay left behind and stuff, and like Alfred's like slapping it with electricity, and it's like changing shape, going through a bunch of shapes and stuff. And yeah, I always think of that scene when I think of like Clayface and his uh, shape changing abilities and stuff. And like that's probably that and the scene where he goes into like the room of TVs and he just sees all his old roles and just flip through all of them. It's probably those two parts of I probably think of the most. And yeah, as you said,
Mhm.
it's like 30-year-old animation at this point.
Yeah, it kind of
Yeah,
moves the best way I can describe it is it's almost like he's made of like snakes made of mud. Like they kind of twist around for like a split second before he takes his new form. And yeah, it's some of the best animation I've seen on the show. It's really,
yeah.
really well done.
But yeah, so the beginning of the second part is it's like Hagen in this trailer thinking back and how he got addicted to it. And yeah, it's Daggett showing up to the hospital after he had the car. Yeah, it says here car crash, and you know, and he obviously has like the Mister Negative bandages on his face.
Oh
He's
yeah,
like,
it
hey,
does
we
look
have
like
this
Mr.
shit to
Negative.
make you look. So he has
Yeah.
like that has like the renew you stuff. Be like, hey, we can fix your face, Mister Vain actor guy, which is obviously is the best way to do it. Like get him when he's like right next and get him when he's nice and vulnerable and needs the reassurance to get better and stuff. So that's unfortunately that's the for bad
Oh,
guys that's the best way to get people. Unfortunately,
I didn't even
yeah.
think of the
So
hospital bill, man. Like you and I are on
yeah,
the Canadian healthcare system, which is
yeah,
kind of on wobbly legs as it is at the time of this recording. But yeah, America, woo,
yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah. So
easily like a six-digit bill.
yeah, so yeah, it's between that and just because Hagen knows his face is fucked. Yeah, so he's like, hey, I'll do anything to because I think he says that this that stuff does instantaneously what with what plastic surgery would have taken years to do.
Hmm.
So and yeah, and obviously laid with years of doing that, it probably would like multiple surgeries, and then surgery is obviously painful and costly and stuff. So is hell, I'll do this thing and takes a couple seconds to on my face, mold my face to whatever I want to do, instead of like years of plastic surgery. I'll take the face goo instead. I think.
Yeah. One thing I want to cut back to real quick is when Bruce sneaks into Lucius Fox's room in the hospital, finally going to see this poor man.
Yeah,
But Fox is freaking out because this is the man who he last saw, the face of the person he who attacked him. And what's funny is like Bruce wasn't in the Batman gear when he
yeah.
got in the room.
Why would he Batman in not as Batman?
Well, because the guards walk in on him too, and it's just like,
Yeah, like
how
yeah,
are you
like
going to explain how you got in the room?
or yeah, like or that you're like yeah, they're looking for you. So just show up as Batman and be like, oh yeah, hey, it's Batman. So yeah, obviously let's do this, and we're not gonna get him. But yeah, don't Batman into the room as fucking Bruce. That's double dub. That's,
And yeah, like it just leads to him getting arrested and
yeah,
like he gets out on bail. But one of the funniest things is when he's walking out of the precinct and like all the paparazzi are swarming him. One of the dumbest questions I've ever heard from a reporter, and I say that as someone who has a journalism background. Mr. Wayne, what was jail like? Oh, Frank, the bed was a little stiff and the room service was subpar. And how the heck do you think jail was?
well, I was only there for like 10 minutes, man. I have no idea what the fuck happened, man. I was like barely sitting down before I like, and plus, we're like, where was this team of lawyers? Like, they should have been there like right away. Like,
Well, we all
like,
know where one
like,
of his lawyer friends is in the loony bin.
like
I had that as an original note. I'm like, be an awkward ask of Bruce is thinking, like, I know, I'll call Harvey. Oh, right.
well, it's the episodes of 4 and 5 aired, so like, okay, so he hasn't. And Aryan Order doesn't turn into Two
Oh,
Face
true
yet, so
enough. Yeah. So yeah, Alfred picks him up from getting bailed out, and Bruce is changing into the Batman suit in the back of the car, and so he's going to find out who the Wayne imposter is. Um, yeah, so we cut back to Hagen in his new form. So, how would you describe the Clayface look here, like the appearance of him?
Oh yeah, this is like what I wasn't aware of like Clayface before this series. So like yeah, this if I think Clayface, I think of this format he's in, like the huge fucking hulking like barely human form
He's
thing.
bigger than
But
Bane, I think.
oh
Like
yeah,
when we get to
100,
Bane.
yeah, for just for like size wise, yeah, 100%, yeah.
Yeah, it really helps give him
Right,
this nice monster vibe, and I think even the like episode description describes him as like kind of like a golem. But yeah, he is huge, man.
yeah, yeah. Like yeah, go like almost or like almost Jabba the Hutt looking thing.
Yeah, he's got the Jabba head. Una clay motion. Ooh,
Oh,
ooh.
oh, oh.
Oh, 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 oh. Bring me bikini girl. Um,
Woman.
so
Oh, oh.
he's thinking back, yeah, as you mentioned before about the accident, and then thinking about like as Teddy mentions to him, like you did some of your best parts after that accident. And as he's walking by all the posters, that's where almost like a reflex, he's
That's right.
transforming into like a gallery of like these former
Yeah,
parts he did.
yeah. He's like thinking back to each role or whatever. Because obviously
Hmm.
with actors, like you inhabit that role for like 3 to 6 months, like for a year. So yeah. So obviously, like probably afterwards, it's still like a part of you in a way. So he's like thinking, like seeing each picture and thinking of it, and then his friend sees the couple of changes in the mirror, and he turns back. He's like, Matt, you're changing. You don't use your hands this time because obviously before he had to mold his face himself or whatever, but now he just can just do it with his mind or whatever. So and
Yeah,
then I think they
in the
go,
previous form, like he was like Clayface in the literal sense, like his only his face was affected. But
yeah,
here he can transform his whole body.
yeah. So yeah, so I
Also,
think they
apparently Hagen played Xanatos from Gargoyles. Did you notice that?
no.
Did you watch the Gargoyle show growing up?
I a little bit. I wasn't like I didn't watch it like I wasn't like a hardcore friends. I didn't watch it like religiously, so I was like more just aware of it than just then like knowing it really. Well,
The
yeah, I
guy
know
who
what you
plays
mean.
Riker, he played the
Yeah,
villain
yeah, yeah.
Xanatos.
He's like the main guy. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's funny.
And yeah, he looks almost dead on like Xanatos in one scene. But
That's funny.
yeah, so Hagen is at first he's able to do it, and then as soon as he loses concentration, he goes back to his mud form and starts,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. He like
freaking
yeah,
out.
they go up to the roof and start changing. Then his buddy or whatever distracts him. He's like, oh yeah, it's like tensing a muscle. I need to fucking focus, and you made me lose my focus. I can't do this. It's all your fault. I'm fucked up, even though it's my fault. I'm fucked up.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm not even a man anymore. And this is the awkward part where you realize that Clayface is a eunuch.
And they don't, yeah, no clothes. Well, I guess if after that you're not really thinking of giving yourself a dong, so
I mean, if that happened to me, man, that's the first thing I'm checking. I mean, I'm gonna be upset, but when I find that detail out, I'm gonna be pissed. So we cut to yeah, the I think Daggett owns Ace Chemicals because there's this like factory with these like
yeah,
acid
yeah,
tanks of glowing
yeah,
green stuff.
yeah. It's either like the random lava or just like random vats of chemicals, like all of Gotham. Like I don't
Yeah.
understand.
Daggett owns the lava racket in Gotham City
the
that
the
we've already
the, la- the
established.
the lava and the random chemical vats gig
Mhm.
are there.
And so Daggett is telling Germs because Germs is the only guy left on his kind of inner circle because Bell's been taken care of. He tells him to tie up any loose ends with the whole Fox situation, namely Lucius Fox himself. Okay, so I mentioned I was going to get back to this of Daggett kind of jumping ahead. This is what I don't understand. Why does Daggett want Lucius Fox dead? Wouldn't keeping Lucius Fox alive and thinking that Bruce Wayne was his attacker be more beneficial to you?
Well, he just needs the he just his end game is still just getting the paperwork, and so he's again like and the whole thing was like if he finds out that it wasn't Bruce Wayne that he was getting the paperwork for, like to be like, okay, who's he getting it for then? And then to be like, okay, it's Dag and all this stuff. So you might as well just get that just off fucking Fox to be like, oh yeah, so before that you can make known why he was doing this whole thing and why he was meeting fucking Bruce at 3 a.m. to begin with, so you can just take that out of the equation and not have to worry about it.
True, but Lucius
It's
already
hard.
thinks that Bruce
Well,
is the
it's a
culprit.
well. It's the thing though. It's not a matter of what Lucius thinks. It's just a matter of like the police are going to talk to Lucius and be like, "Hey, why the fuck were you meeting him at 3 a.m. for? Why don't you just do it during business hours and all this shit?" And be like, and then be then
That's a good point.
eventually be like eventually then yeah in a discovery of the not Bruce of it all and trying to like figure out his that whole thing would be like then it could be traced back to Daggett. So and
I mean,
it
the
might as
the
well.
main point of this is to, kind of keep the story moving along in the episode. But that's where I'd be like, you're kind of drawing more attention to yourself when this person who had their life threatened and is now under guard supervision is suddenly turning up dead in the hospital. Like, it's kind of bringing more heat onto your shoulders than you'd think you'd want. But yeah, when you mentioned, yeah, about the whole, uh,
Because at that point they don't know it's Daggett at that point. So if he's
yeah,
dead before they make the connection, then he's just that just whatever was going on killed him instead of hey it was Daggett that killed him.
yeah. This is what I mean, though, when I say, like, I kind of see where Daggett's going with this, but I feel like he's one step too far
No,
for his
no,
own good.
no. You just got to do more crime to know how friggin' crime works, or like what
Yeah,
the crime. How I guess is my whole thing, which don't delve any further of how I know that and what that
yeah.
means with me. Then
Adam
don't ask
Upper,
questions.
known associate of Roland Daggett and
I
Elon Musk.
I never said any of those things for the record, officers.
Hey, you can edit it as much as you want, man. So, but yeah, no, actually, Hank is able to predict that that's exactly what Daggett's going to do. He thinks that he's going to send one of his goons to go get Lucius in the hospital and take him out of the picture. So he disguises himself as a doctor and sneaks into the hospital. And Batman's actually doing the same thing at the same time. And that's where he corners Germs in Lucius's room. Like, he was gonna smother Lucius with a pillow, man.
100%. Yeah.
Like, that is dark.
But would the whole like smothering of the pillow thing actually work though? Because isn't a pillow like aerated enough that you could probably breathe through it?
I think so. Yeah.
So
Or like
yeah,
even
yeah,
like he could be hooked up to, like one of those like breathing apparatuses.
there's
But
something. Yeah.
other than, getting the board like falling right on top of him, we don't know what the extent of his injuries are. But yeah, then Batman, he manages to save him at the last second. And this scene was funny because he corners Germs in the infectious disease ward, which I'm like, I love when the plot just makes it just like delicious irony.
Yeah, yeah. And
So,
then he grabs one thing and says it's like some plague or whatever. And puts it on the little shelf of it, and keeps on hitting it so it gets closer to falling off. And so you're trying to
mhm.
get him to say who was opposing as Bruce Wayne. And does he actually say that it was Hagen at this point? I think, or no?
He does say that it's Hagen, but that's where I'm like, Batman would have been one step further along in his investigation if he had just normally interrogated Bell like he is with this guy. Like, he's not bringing in the bat plane all over again and saying, like, clearly he learned from his mistake. It's like, maybe I went too far.
Maybe we
Yeah.
shouldn't try and rip some guy's arm off to figure out what was going on. All of a sudden, yeah, all of a sudden, infect him with some crazy disease. Which the funny thing is, after it figures out it was just like a seawater sample.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even
Um,
even like it wasn't even like some crazy what it wasn't the disease that he said it was or anything else. It was just seawater.
yeah. He's gone from good cop, bad cop to placebo cop. And speaking of cops, that's when a police officer enters the room and he's about to take germs away. Batman says, "Wait a second, I'm not done with him." It turns out it's Hagen, and Hagen
Yeah, yeah.
is transformed into Clayface's form.
Well, yeah, as soon as he says like, "Oh, I'll take it from here," yeah, you can hear the Ron Perlman voice. So he's like, "Yeah, you can tell right away that it's him."
I
So
loved seeing Ron Perlman in just like this complete badass villain mode. Like, oh, I love it.
yeah, Ron Perlman's the best. I love him. Yeah.
So
I
they
wish
take
we
the
were.
fight up to the roof. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I wish we would have gotten like the third Hellboy with him.
He was really, really good in that role, man.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, I really like those movies. Yeah.
yeah. Was that the first time that he worked with Guillermo del Toro or
Uh, no, actually, like I think it was Ron Perlman's first one of, if not his first movie, one of the first ones. It was like a 90 or 91. It's Kronos.
okay.
I think I'm pretty sure that Del Toro wrote that one, and Ron Perlman was a one of the actors in that, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just check that out. I'm fairly certain that's a Del Toro movie.
Fair enough. Well, while you're looking for that, I'll make mention. Yeah, they take the fight scene up to the rooftop, and Clayface is like really learns how to kind of find his element with this. He gets like Freddy Krueger claws, man. It's friggin' awesome.
And yeah, Kronos is a 1992 Mexican independent horror drama written and directed by Guillermo del Toro,
Nice.
and it's a take on a vampire movie. So it's worth checking out. Yeah, I think
Oh,
we'll
that's
watch
the
it.
other
Like
thing. Ron Perlman was in Blade too, and I think that's a
yeah, yeah.
Guillermo del Toro movie.
That's right. Now I fucking sure thought of that because I watched like the first half of that like within the last week when like my girlfriend was over last. I think we started watching that before she had to go. But Blade 2 is like that Del Toro movie, and he's in that too. One of the team that was trained to try and take out Blade, and they had to team up to take out the fucking other widow vampire guy.
One of the Reapers, I think.
Yeah, Reaper, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you get this amazing fight scene between Clayface and Batman where yeah, he's like seeing like how like this is not a villain you can just, like punch in the face. Like this is someone who
Yeah,
can like, change their form on a whim. They
yeah,
can create weapons out of nothing. It's so cool.
yeah, because I think all the villains so far have been more like mind villains. I guess you would say though, like Joker will fuck with you with your head, and the Riddler is just trying to see how smart you are and sort of thing. So at the end, you haven't really had like a truly like physical uh bad guy so far, really. I
Mm.
guess other than maybe Man Bat, but I guess that's only because he's flying instead of being like a actual physical threat. So I think yeah, so it's definitely Batman's first big like physical threat instead of
It's
just
a
being like
challenge like he's
the
never had before.
he's yeah, because so like everything else has just been like the detective side of Batman trying to sort of thing instead of just like the trained like assassin that he kind of is sort of thing.
I would argue it's harder to take down Clayface than it would be somebody like Killer Croc or Bane. Because at least then all you have to do is find a way to like, hit him with a tranquilizer or, gas him. Like honestly, what are you supposed to do if you're fighting Clayface?
Because I'm just thinking of that wasn't it was not this Clayface episode, but the other one where he does see where Clayface just absorbs Batman into his body and just waits for him to suffocate or whatever.
Mhm.
I always think of that part, and he's just like saying like, yeah, I can feel his heart rate slowing. Like, yep, his heart stopped. Just give him a minute,
It's
and then
so
let him go.
dark.
100%.
Mhm.
Because he's talking as it's happening. He's like, because I talking to his girlfriend or whatever it was as it's happening, yeah. And then you just see like the grappling hook shoot out of him at the last second.
Yeah.
It's
So
can't wait.
Batman,
That's that good. That was a good episode. Can't wait for it. But yes, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say Batman figures out that Clayface is Hagen, and
Yeah.
the person that he's looking for as the not Bruce, and all the constant changing of forms. It takes a toll on Hagen's mind because he's having to change his identity and change his form so much so quickly that yeah, it starts messing with him psychologically.
Well, yeah. It would be a mental strain as well as just like a physical strain as well. So it's not just one or the other. It's like kind of both. Because like yeah, they said it would be a strain on his brain just trying to do that, and as I said, just the body changing and all that too would do that as well. Yeah. So it's like the both together would take a lot out of him. Yeah. So
And you had
he
mentioned
kind of
he described it like tensing a muscle. So yeah, like eventually like you're gonna have a muscle
he's gonna
spasm.
yeah. Yeah, so he's didn't think he's gay, but he's probably like before he does like a caper or something. I'm guessing he's probably like a like Olympic athlete where you just eat like a ton of like pasta beforehand so he can change if he knows he needs to change form a bunch of times. Just like
Mhm.
carb up. I need to carb up before I go do my shit.
I need to really soak in this mud bath. Clayface needs a spa day. Yeah, he manages to escape when he realizes like, he's kind of losing control. Um I think Germs is yeah, he gets finally arrested by the police, and Hagen he goes back to Teddy's house, and he's still has every intention of killing Daggett in revenge, and Teddy's trying to object to this. So I don't know if you caught it earlier, but in the production notes, it was implied, but it was never confirmed. Like they're not just friends, they're a couple.
Yeah,
So Teddy is actually like watching his lover completely, go onto this dark side, and he's trying to pull him back in, which is another really good thing I find with any addiction storyline is the moral support and the people closest to the addict trying to, bring him back
yeah,
to, find some hope.
yeah. Being the anchor to bring him back
Yeah.
to that
And that
to
just
who they
makes this
were.
scene it makes this scene even more heartbreaking because like Hagen is like, no, like I'm gonna kill him, and he basically walks out on Teddy and like throws him like almost across the room in rage. He's like more or less like, how dare you try and talk me out of this? So yeah, it's even more devastating when you like kind of take in that fact.
Yeah,
And
that
that's when we
was
cut to Summer Gleason talking to Daggett because he's going to be promoting the product of Renew You, and making it look like he's figured out how to market the entire cosmetic industry, because who's going to need makeup when you've got putty that can actually like mold your face.
yeah.
And
So yeah, so just regular makeup, you can just make yourself you look more pretty by just playing with your face that way, and so just makeup, yeah, which is a crazy thought itself.
mhm. And that's when okay, we've mentioned that Batman and a lot of his villains have like parallels. So like obviously Clayface is a master of disguise. Batman also has a lot of masters of disguises. We see that whole closet of, like all the different costumes and outfits he's got. But this might be his dumbest costume yet, because Batman sneaks into the control room as a custodian. He doesn't even take his mask off. Like anybody with an eyeball is gonna see this guy and be like, "Why is the janitor dressed up like Batman?"
And working in a TV station that looks pretty much exactly like that. Like the janitor just came up and started touching shit. We were like, "What the fuck are you doing? Don't touch the
Yeah,
stuff. You know you're not supposed to be doing
yeah, yeah. Someone like exactly like someone in your line of work, like you gotta
that."
know who's supposed to be in that room and who's not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, And that
Yeah,
was a smaller room than I work in, yeah. So like so it's not like some random person be like, oh yeah, I'm here to start my shift. I'm like, okay, get the fuck out of here.
yeah. And so when Daggett's talking about the product on the talk show, that's when okay, Hammond turned into Rosie O'Donnell. Like let's call her for who she is. Like Rosie O'Donnell. Like clearly this guy was watching The View or something. And he's like, I just got an
Uh,
idea.
no, like all this is like 92, so those would have been like the when she was still an actor. Or,
Oh, true. Yeah,
so
maybe
yeah,
he's
because
just watching a rom com.
yeah, no, yeah, because I don't think the Rosie O'Donnell show was until like the late 90s. I don't think.
Oh yeah, she did have her own talk show, didn't she?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I don't think
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I don't think that was until yeah. So I think she was a comedian and whatnot at this point too, in '92, I think. Because yeah, because this would probably been shortly after when League of Their Own came out, I think, '92. Because I think
Yeah, that sounds about right.
yeah, yeah, I think that probably I think that came out in '92. Well, I want to say I'll put $5 on it. It came out that summer, I think.
You're on.
All right, that's all right. You talk and I'll look it up.
Right. So yeah, Clayface in this disguise is going at Daggett and saying
Haha,
like,
1992.
"All right, I owe you $5. I'll just
Let's
pay
see.
you in alcohol."
That works for me. All right, let's see. It is, let's see what day. Yeah, July 1st, 1992.
There you go.
128 minutes. Yeah,
So
very
he's
quiet.
talking about this stuff being addictive and like what it does if like you use it too much. And that's when, yeah, he turns into like complete Clayface form and like Daggett's freaking out because this giant monster is coming at him. And he's
Yeah.
realizing like, oh no, consequences. This is what they look like.
He's not just being called by a person, yeah, he's called by a monster, yeah, because at first it's just the person like screaming like saying it's addictive and all this stuff, and then you slowly the voice starts to change, and then it eventually turns right into Clayface, yeah. So it's not like it's a immediate thing; it's a gradual thing, yeah. So he's just like, oh shit, this crazy person, oh shit, it's more than a crazy person. Let's get the fuck out of
It's not the public coming after me. It's an
here.
actual freak abomination that I created.
Yep.
If only I'd known better. Oh, wait, I did. So yeah, this fight starts where yeah, Hagen's trying to kill Daggett and Batman's jumping in to save him and that's where yeah, I don't know if like this is the last we see of Daggett, at least in this two-parter, but I think that Batman manages to keep him from running away. I think he uses one of those like wire cords that he is it like the bat bola or whatever it's called, the thing that he uses to like knock people under the ground.
Oh yeah, I'm not, yeah, something like that. I'm not quite
Whatever it's
sure.
called. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, he they're having this fight scene. Clayface is, like using all of his power against him. He's turning into different forms of weapons and stuff. The fight actually leads all the way up to the control room, and that's where what is probably the best scene of this whole two-parter happens. What happens here, Adam?
oh yeah, so that's what Batman was setting up earlier. You just say so you just obviously grabbed like a bunch of old tapes of Hagen's old roles. So yeah, so you just press this play in all the VTRs, and so you like there's like 15, 20 monitors in there. So yeah, so obviously like 15, 20 different roles. So you just start seeing that, and you can't is doing it subconsciously. He just keeps on changing and all this stuff, and he just like freaks out and just like basically short circuits his entire body and just like starts freaking out and he can't control it and takes him out that way, which is a fucking insane scene.
Yeah, like this is what I mean when I say like the animation was
Yeah,
subtly upgraded for this two-part
yes, yeah,
by
so good, yeah,
yeah, they could I don't think that and not to diss the animators from the previous part, but I do not think they would have been able to,
no,
measure up to this task as
yeah,
like the guys for this one did. Because
yeah,
yeah, you see
yeah,
him within seconds changing his face, and it's
yeah,
it's like amazing.
yeah, so he freaks out and it's like, and then ends up breaking a couple of monitors and getting electrocuted, and then with that, they think he's finally dies because if he was a regular person, obviously that much like electricity would 100% kill you. So they do
Yeah.
that, and then finally just like, all right, finally did the thing. But as I said before, like when we were talking about the animation, yeah, like they're wrapping up the episode. They're talking they're back at the Batcave, and they said like Batman said, yeah, we found this clump of clay that was still there, and Alfred was playing with the electricity, and they doing the whole thing. He's like, well, this is weird. Like electricity has very little lasting effects on it, if anything. So he's most likely not dead. And then we cut to like the body in the morgue, which made me think of the episode of DS9 where you find out that Morn, like the guy like that's always hanging out in Quark's bar, what
Oh yeah.
did like was like a part of like a big gold pressed platinum heist. And he was like holding like the platinum in his like second stomach, so he had like a bunch of just like gold bricks that he'd siphon the platinum out of, and it showed up, and then as soon as Quark touched it, it would just disintegrate. He's like, "Oh, what am I going to do with all this worthless gold?" I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. Quark
So
of
yeah,
all
so like
people.
so like so yeah, yeah. So that Batman was saying like, yeah, the electricity had no effect on the body, so he's probably most likely not dead because he called like him dying was his best scene ever. So it was probably just most likely just like faking it. So you find out that as I said, the body that was there was just like a shell. So yeah, so I
Mhm.
thought that was the same thing. It just as soon as the morgue attendee or whatever there lifted up the thing and just kind of jostled a bit, and the body just crumbled. And then you see Matt Hagen's like boyfriend or whatever outside. I forget his name, saying like, "Oh, good seeing him out or whatever," and then you see this random lady just start laughing, and I think does she turn into Clayface, or is it just the voice? Because
No,
I
she
think
had
she
the
starts laughing
Clayface
and then
yellow eyes.
yeah, so like the eyes change, and yeah, then they starts laughing, and like the voice changes into Clayface voice, so
Mhm.
unlike last episode with Heart of Ice, where like obviously there's gonna be more of Mr. Freeze that way. Like you probably know that there's gonna be more, which there is more Clayface episodes coming up, which is
Mhm.
good because yeah, he's definitely definitely a solid character. I think yeah.
Yeah. And one last plot detail we should mention is Bruce does get exonerated when the cops barge into the control room and see Clayface being electrocuted because he takes the form of Bruce Wayne and they
Yeah, yeah,
realize,
yeah,
oh, so this is who the fake Bruce Wayne was.
yeah. So you finally like, and then probably talk to him. And like, yeah, see, it wasn't actually me. And then yeah, Lucius like, hey, who's the dumb guy? I should have known that wasn't you all along. I've known you for more than 5 minutes. So I should have known that was suspicious.
Those board meetings are going to be very awkward henceforth. Like, can you
Oh,
imagine trying to negotiate a better salary from the man who you put in jail?
well, you can see where I confess not seeing that wasn't you, right? Bruce, like, come on.
Yeah. All of a sudden Bruce is just claiming they're in a recession or the company's like bordering on bankruptcy and says we gotta take a little bit of a slice out of your paycheck. Meanwhile he's buying himself like a whole fleet of Rolls Royces and just passing by giving him the giving him the finger.
Or, yeah, got
Yeah, no,
himself an
this is
Uber.
a really really good two-parter, man.
Yeah. So what would you give this episode out of five disfiguring accidents?
Out of five disfigured accidents, I'm going to give it 4.5 out of 5. The
Four out of
only
five.
reason why I don't give it 5 out of 5, because it nearly earned it, was because I mentioned this to you not too long ago. I wondered, did this need to be a two-parter? I think that they had the plot for an episode of a half, but I think that you could definitely tell, especially with that bat plane scene, like, okay, they're definitely padding the story here. Like, we did not need Batman to go like Top Gun James Bond mode on this poor man with his wrist.
Yeah.
One, because of the
I'm not a huge fan of two parters as well. So I'm probably with you on that as well. Yeah. But go ahead.
yeah. But no, I was gonna say like I think that if they had done a little bit of editing around, it could have resonated a bit more as a better two-parter and whatever in that 5 out of 5. But still, it just misses that mark of a perfect rating. How about you?
Yeah, yeah, I think I give it a 4 or 5 as well. Yeah, but because it's the same thing. Like, yeah, we could just say we could like obviously like probably should have been 2 episodes, but like if we could put down to one, would be perfect. But yeah, this is I think with this series, like the best introduction episodes are the tragic ones because like I said with like the last episode with Mr. Freeze, it was fairly tragic, and the same with this one. It's just it's really good, but also really sad. So yeah, so I think definitely 4.5 out of 5 for me. I think. So any last words other than that on this episode?
Best death ever.
All right, everybody. Thank you for that is the episode for this week, and thanks for joining us in the Batcave to talk about Batman the Animated Series and Clayface. And next week's episode will be Joker's Favors. Watch that and join us there. You can probably follow on, watch Batman the Animated Series on Netflix, or and if you're in Canada, it recently became available on Amazon Prime. So like I'm sorry if you're listening to the States, it's probably there as well, and it's probably on that is the WB or the WB service streaming service still a thing, or is it all been or is it Max or whatever the
If it's
HBO
not
Max
on
is now
Max, it
Prime.
would probably be on like a Teletoon kind of subscription.
Yeah, so it is wherever you watch it in the States, it's probably on Max. If not, it'd be on Netflix and Amazon Prime as well. If it's on up on those up here, it's probably be there as well. So just follow and watch along there. You can follow us on Twitter/X at Beyond Backcast, on Instagram at Beyond the Backcast. And as I said, you can rate, review, subscribe on all the major podcast streamers there. And Braden, where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me on Instagram at Alfred is Zaddy. And I
Ooh,
also
study.
work with the Facebook page for the podcast, Beyond the Backcast at Facebook.com.
All right. And you can follow me at Stump Chunkman on the Instagram. Hey, follow and listen to my other podcasts I do sometimes at the Multiverse of Marvel, but I think we're gonna wait and do a X-Men 97 episode when the series is done, I think. So keep an ear out for that. So I think by the time this episode is out, that I think that might that all the 10 episodes might be out. So check that out if I've done already. If not, it's probably be out soonish, I think. Hopefully, we'll see. But yeah, as I said, thanks for joining us in the Batcave to talk about Batman the Animated Series at Beyond the Backcast. Goodbye, good chums. Kapow.